Yes, in our daily lives, persons with disabilities will pass through many challenges. Lack of access to infrastructures, access to buildings, access to information, and many other sectors. Is it the economy? Is it agriculture, health, education, and the rest? So I always want to emphasize on the rights of women and girls with disabilities because I'm one of them, and we need people to believe in us, we need people to invest in us, and we also need people to empower us. But before you do these three things I just mentioned, you need to be aware that when it comes to issues of rights, women and girls with disabilities are at a 0% rate of participation in everything. Is it political participation? Is it in education? We are not educated. One of my friends shared her story. She said she's the only lady in the house and she has a disability. That her parents stopped her. They refused to send her to school. But all her siblings went to school. Some are graduate, some are undergraduate, some are even planning to go to school. But for her, she was not sent to school. As an adult as she is right now, she's trying to go to primary school. I say, yes, you can start from somewhere. Don't care about what is going to happen to you because you'll be bullied. And look at this mama entering our class. You'll be bullied, but don't care about such moments. Your own is to have your certificate and move ahead. Another barrier is institutional barrier. We have beautiful policies, documents, legal frameworks that, if implemented, those rights will be given to us. But it has been kept aside. It has been kept in the drawers, in the cupboards, in the cabinets. Instead of saying, yes, we need to do this, 5% reservation of jobs employment for graduates with disabilities. Do we have it? Have we done it here in this organization? CEOs, founders, managing directors, they need to keep their colleagues on the foot and keep asking them that, is these things achieved in our organization? Another one is the attitudinal barrier, which I mentioned earlier. People tend to use charity and pity on persons with disabilities. Just before you came, my colleague, oh, were you there? Okay, you were there when one of my colleagues was saying he's a senior staff at the Federal Ministry of Works, and very soon he's going to be a director. But once he sits in a wheelchair, somebody will just see him and start removing 20 naira to give him. Someone that he can employ, someone that he can empower. But because he's in a wheelchair, he's been abused, he's been treated as second-class citizen. For women with disabilities, we are treated as top-class citizens due to the triple jeopardy that we face, which are infrastructural, attitudinal, and I forgot the third one was institutional, attitudinal, and infrastructural. So we need to always remind government and hold them accountable to our rights. It is sad that in Nigeria we are still operating on the charity level of human rights. We need to move from charity level to social model, from social model to human rights model, where most economies are using to empower persons with disabilities. Another one is the the social inclusion models that we have, which there are four. One is exclusion, two is segregation, third is integration, and the last one is inclusion. As it is, Nigeria is still on the integration level. Even some are still using segregation. We went for a meeting yesterday that we were invited. Yes, some of us were invited to the high table, but for persons with disabilities, they gave them a separate canopy. It's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to allow us to sit in any of the canopies. Don't give us a canopy. That's segregation. The meaning of that thing they did yesterday was segregation. So we need to move from these stages: exclusion to segregation, segregation to integration, and integration to inclusion. What we want to see is inclusivity in everything. When you're planning for events, how many participants with disabilities? The speakers, the facilitators, the consultants, how many are persons with disabilities? And in your neighborhood, there are children with disabilities. Have you ever called one of them and said, why are you not going to school? They will tell you the reasons, whether the fault is from them or from their family members. 80% most times are from the family members. It's either they say the school does not have the capacity and the facility to support their education. We went to different schools and they refused to be enrolled. So we have to bring them back home, teaching them at home, bringing teachers to teach them at home. But most parents don't even do that. Once the school discourages them, they come back here and stay in the families. Last week, one of them called me. She said, I'm supposed to have graduated from secondary school, but today I am still at home. It is sad. She said, Madam Lois, how can you help me? I want to go to school. So these are the issues that we need to address as quickly as possible. So I'm challenging Nigerian government to look into this issue of education. If we are not educated, we cannot be lawmakers. If we are not educated, we cannot run successful companies. Look at what PLAG did today. Very big event that if we work on the next steps after this event, it will bring some solutions into the Nigerian civil societies. So we need to educate our children. Education is very, very important. Let's review our educational policies, documents, legal frameworks to be able to accommodate everyone and incorporate every issue of exclusion. Thank you. I always tell my colleagues that we need to start holding government accountable on our rights. And National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, I advise them to follow up with National Assembly on setting up a committee that will hold everybody accountable of access for citizens with disabilities, especially the physically challenged ones, those on crutches and those in wheelchairs. Another thing we need to do is to set up a funding stream, because once you set up a committee, you must pay some of their bills. Bills like data, transport reimbursement, and per diem for sitting allowance and other expenses. So we need a funding stream to do all that. Another strategy is to ensure that persons with disabilities are incorporated in those committees. We should not just set committees without us. They say nothing for us without us. So we must be included in all the committees we are being set up, they are setting up. We have to share our ideas with them. And another strategy is to sensitize the public. Yes, we have a law, 5 years period, transition period was given, and it has elapsed in January 17. Now we want to see those things enshrined in the Disability Act being displayed everywhere. Do you have a RAM? Do you have a sign language interpreter? Some of the materials you use, do you accommodate those with visual impairment? And many other things. And that's why in my second recommendation or strategy I've given is to set up funding streams, funding opportunities for all these issues to be addressed accordingly. So we need to make sure that these laws are being implemented accordingly. We have beautiful laws. We also need to review such laws, because issues of women and girls with disabilities are not included, or they are not captured when those laws were being worked on. We need to review some of those policies to be able to carry everybody out. There are many. Due to patriarchal system of Nigerian traditions and cultures, women are seen as nothing in the community. Even in the home, some decisions are taken without you. You will just see them asking you to do this, do that. But when the meeting is being held, you are not invited because you are a woman. And being a woman with disability is double. And the barriers, the challenges, the problems, the difficulties you face are another barrier added to what you're already having. And that's why I always say women with disabilities go through triple jeopardy. They are triple jeopardized. Women and girls with disabilities are seen as nothing. I don't have anything to offer, just go home and sleep. Able women tried, they could not succeed. Men with disabilities tried, they could not succeed. But you that has one challenge and the other, you want to do it and succeed. How? They will be discouraging you. They will be asking some silly questions that are not supposed to be asked. And another one is that most of the statistics we have in this country, when it comes to political participation, it favors men than us, women with disabilities. Why? I mentioned earlier, because of the patriarchal system of the nation and your gender. And some people believe that disability is caused by your sin. The myths that are being faced by persons with disabilities, they are many, ranging from ethnicity, religion, inadequate funding, and other issues of attitudes. So my recommendations would be, we should have a character reform, attitudinal reforms in our families, our communities, our organizations. And when somebody behaves in a well-mannered way, we should commend the person, we should motivate the person with gratitude, with gifts, with appreciation, and with words of encouragement, so they will continue behaving well. So Another recommendation is we should have a database of women with disabilities who wants to join politics, who wants to run for office, who wants to be appointed in government. Once we have this database of women with disabilities, we should start sourcing for funds, set up a leadership academy that these women will be mentored, they will be trained, they will be taught on capacity building, how to become experts, how to become professionals in their various fields, in their careers, and becoming the next president of this country. I believe that one day, someday, we'll have the first female president in this country, not just as a female, but a woman with disability. Yes, we should begin to prioritize accessibility through the use of technology. For example, you are reading your questions from your iPad. If a blind person pick up this iPad, will she have access just like you? Where will she touch to be able to hear a voice guiding her to go to Microsoft Word, to go to PDF, to go to her messages, emails, and other applications installed in this iPad? So we need to begin to think, okay, I am setting up a website. How can a blind person access this website independently? How can a deaf person be able to listen to videos since they cannot hear? Is your video accessible and inclusive? Does it have captioning, description of images and other things in those videos? So whatever we are doing, we should always think of others. When you put others first, things will go well in this country. And persons with disabilities too, they need to be innovative, they need to come up with solutions. They should be solution driven in making things happen for themselves, for their family members, and for others.
Thank you very much. Now, I would like to ask that you're seated here today, there's a story behind it. So I'd like to hear that story, your personal experience, your journey that led you to set up the foundation, and also, to what inspired you, to start specifically promoting the rights of women and girls with disabilities.
Yeah, first of all, it's passion. I want to see myself helping others. I want to see myself being a solution to many people's problems. And that was why I never allowed polio to stop me. I did not stop in my primary school, I did not stop in my secondary school. I continued even with various challenges that my parents could not send me to school. So I set up an umbrella with a telephone. I was making calls, I was sending recharge cards to be able to send myself to school. So after doing that for 2 years, I was able to pick up a form, a national diploma form from University of Abuja, and I read public administration. And luckily, after my 2 years diploma, I went for internship in PPMC. PPMC was a subsidiary in NNPC. And from there, I moved to become a support staff with NNPC. This was between 2009 and 2010. And from there, I went back to University of Abuja and picked up the BSc form. And today, I am a graduate. Today, I am a Mandela Washington Fellow. Today, I am the first woman with disability from Africa named the Young Global Leader of the World Economic Forum. Today, I'm the first woman with disability that ran with one of the successful initiatives, ideas, and project activities that women and girls with disabilities benefited. According to our organization, Network of Women with Disabilities, we did a project tagged Inclusion Works, and it's all about creating employment opportunities for women and girls with disabilities. So it was a project with Kenya, Uganda, and Bangladesh. So thousands of persons with disabilities were trained on how to face interviewers, how to do an incredible and excellent interview in terms of seeking job opportunities. They were also trained on how to have credible CVs to be presented to global jobs opportunity. Another one was training the young minds, like girls with disabilities who are in secondary schools, to be able to choose a successful course during their university period. For example, we realized that women with disabilities always go for special education. They always go for special education in terms of looking for admission in the universities. And after graduating from that department, they find it very difficult to be absorbed in the employment world because you did not read public administration, you did not read accountancy, you did not read courses that will always be available in the market looking for jobs, or jobs looking for them. So it's always difficult for persons with disabilities to secure jobs independently like every other person. And another big issue is attitudinal barrier. People tend to see the disabilities of persons with disabilities or graduates with disabilities before the person. So it's always difficult when interviewers sees a disabled person who is a graduate. They conclude that you cannot do this job. You won't be able to perform as expected. You will not get the result we want from you. So what's the need of bringing you in our organization? So with this kind of thing you're doing right now, you're creating awareness to the public that we have brilliant people, excellent people who are persons with disabilities. They use their mind to create initiatives that will invest in those organizations. So what we want to see is that, yes, we have the capacity, we have the potentials, we have the gifts to sit down, write proposals that will bring development to this country, especially the increase in Nigeria's GDP. Because as we are working, we are contributing to the tax in this country, and those taxes are being used to develop the country. So we are directly contributing to Nigeria's GDP. I cannot remember where I saw it, but I have seen it somewhere that in every developing country, persons with disabilities contribute 7% of the growth and development of that country. So if this number is huge, up to 7%, then why are you neglecting us? Why are you keeping us at the background when we are supposed to be on stage? We are supposed to be on the podium. We're supposed to be heard and our rights be given to us as persons with disabilities who are treated as first-class citizens, not as second-class citizens or third-class citizens. So Inclusion Works project has empowered many lives with disabilities to be absorbed in some companies like MTN, like Guinness, like breweries, and other passionate organizations who are implementing the 5% enshrined in Nigerian Disability Act according to the legal frameworks we have available in this country.